All right, what's up, my friend Luke Lezon? I miss you, man.
I know, man. It's crazy. You can't even see your neighbors these days. It's wild.
I know. Well, it's looks like this whole thing may be opening up soon. There's lots of debate over that. I think we're going to
Yeah.
be leaning on the more cautious, safe side than even though the
Yeah,
extrovert in me is like, let's go.
I know. Yeah, no, the good thing is that there's total unity over that topic and people don't have like really heated opinions and nobody thinks they've got like the drop on what exactly needs to happen. It's just very, very cordial and I love that.
Yeah, isn't that? I mean, you just described the politeness of Facebook so well.
Yeah, it's crazy. Everybody's like, you know what? Regardless of your opinion, I even if I disagree, I respect you as a person. I love you. You're made in the image of God, and so nothing could separate us from that fact. And it's just been great. Love seeing it. And
That's great, dude.
we're
Oh my goodness. So why
so
don't you just
stoked it's an election year.
oh
Lovely.
yeah. It's everything about 20 as if 2019 we thought we 2019 wasn't a great year, but we're outdoing ourselves with this one. So
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, sweet mercy. It's unreal.
you and your wife, you're based in Atlanta here with us, but
Mhm.
you're not quarantining in Atlanta. So what's that been like?
It's been good, the thing that we really thought is, man, like if this is gonna happen, like what's an area where we can really capitalize on some things that we otherwise would not be able to do? And one of those areas was just getting around family. So we hadn't been around my family in a little bit, and so it's just it's a little bit more square footage than our place, and some things like that, and just to get around people who love you and are have been praying for you and where you can kind of start thinking about the future together and just talk and love and read and dream. So it's been good. It's definitely weird, and we're kind of getting to that point where we would like to see things get back to normal here in the near future, but not at the expense of people, just getting COVID all over again. So
Yeah. Yep.
tough.
There's that Venn diagram that's like, ready for the economy to be open back up, scared of a police state, but also taking the disease seriously. you know,
Yeah, yeah.
right,
No,
right
I
there in the
mean,
middle.
these are not easy choices. I mean, but that's the thing. I saw like gyms are opening up. I'm like, here's the one thing I'll say: you have a better chance of getting me to move to Minneapolis than to see me at a gym. And I hate the cold. I mean, there is no way I'll be at a gym. No way. So
No, I don't get gyms and like massage therapy. Those two things, like, why are those a part of phase one? Like, what lobbyist in the gym and massage field was like, God, come on, Capitol Hill, let us open back up.
well, and someone at the gym has it. I mean, can you just imagine someone massaging you and it's like, "Hey, what did you do during that time?" And it's like, "Well, I got it, and yeah, I got over it, but I had it, and I had it bad. But is this tight right here?" And it's like, actually, I'm done. I think I'm good.
Yeah, I'm out. I'm out.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
great.
it's rough.
So
It's
I saw your wife's kind of her whole thing. Lindsay loves to do puzzles during quarantine. What's your thing?
yeah, dude.
Not
You want to know what
puzzles.
I? No, it's not puzzles. And she's been reading like all these novels and she's like talking to me about these characters like they're people in our lives. And I'm like, honey, I don't know what's happening. She's like, all you got to know is that this is what happened to Stacy. And so I'm just like, great. Okay. And for me, dude, I love like movies, and the thing I've been doing recently, with some friends to reconnect with some friends. So I hadn't played a video game since high school. And so like at night I'll jump on Call of Duty with some friends or something. And it's been like, at first I was like, dang, this is like really dumb. But then I was like, this is like such good mindlessness for me. Um,
I could go for a
because
video game right now. That's a good idea.
yeah, so that's been good. But other than that, man, like it just to be able to wake up and sit outside and just kind of relax and pray and think and just be quiet for a minute has been good for me. I don't do
I
that
hear you.
super well, so I've just been taking some moments
That's
to
good,
do
man.
that.
Well,
Yeah.
you've been doing some amazing Bible study teachings on the evenings, taking us through the book of Philippians. And when I asked you kind of what's been a go-to verse for you, you brought up something from Philippians 2, which I love that chapter. So why don't you kind of lay that on us? Why Philippians 2 has been so meaningful for you during this time?
Well, I think the crazy thing about Philippians 2 is obviously you have probably one of the greatest chunks of scripture in there at the beginning to verses like 4 or 5 through 11, and just talking about the posture of Jesus, that he emptied himself even though he didn't need to, and just really became obedient to God in a way that the world had never seen, has never seen, and just became our example. And it's amazing. But for me, I really have loved verses 12 and 13. I have them here. My beloved. Oh, did my microphone go on?
It sounds great.
1 second. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you just fine.
I don't know what that is. But anyway, uh, the verse that I love is Philippians 2:12 through 13. It says, "Therefore, my beloved, as you have always obeyed, so now, not only in my presence, but much more in my absence, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling, for it is God who works in you both to will and to his good pleasure." And just the idea of being able to just really work out what God's working in. I feel like God's working so many things in us during this time that we're really going to end up working out in different ways that I don't think we really even anticipated. And so this has been a time, I think, that God has used to work some different things into me, I'm sure into you and into people that are watching and listening, in a way that's allowed them to realize I need to really be striving forward towards the promise of God, which Philippians 2 goes on to say, that we're chasing the upward call of God on our lives, and just really being able to refocus and think, what is that? What am I doing in my day to day that is unnecessary? I know that, like, even my parents have been talking about, like, my dad's been telling me the job that he does. He works for Walmart, sells business in a Walmart, and just saying that a lot of them are like, hey, we don't need to like be flying around as much. Like, we don't need to be uh we maybe don't need to like have office space the way that we have office space. And just really thinking, what are the things I can let go of right now so that God can work some different things into me so I can move forward more into the purpose God has for my life. And so it's been a real heavy thing to think on, but it's been super beneficial for us.
Wow, wow. I mean that the idea of God like working in and through us. I mean, obviously a lot of distractions have been kind of shed away, and you're right, we are having to wrestle with what do we want to adjust, what kind of new normal are we dealing with. But give me just a little bit of some pastoral thought on fear and trembling there, you know?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
because it sounds a little like hellfire brimstone preacher, but there's something different there that's beyond just the surface. So give me your breakdown on that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's so funny, like there's so much in scripture that I feel like sometimes seems or feels like super ambiguous or just kind of like ethereal, and we're just kind of like, that's like up here in the clouds, and like maybe we just kind of skip past that or like whatever. Um but I think it is funny that God's like, hey, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. And I do think one thing that we don't like to talk about, and you and I privately talk often about the things that don't get talked about publicly maybe as much, But I just wonder, there is a certain like fear of God in the middle of all of this, right? Where you kind of wonder, not that I need to be afraid of God as my father, but that I need to have a certain fear and understanding that there are things that we are committed to doing and that we're supposed to do under God's thumb while we're here on earth, and that He's got a plan and a purpose, and that we need to be walking in that. That we don't get to just have a free pass to kind of do whatever we want. And it's like, I love God and went to church and like love my family and that's it. Play and repeat. Like those are great things. But it's like I don't know if you've ever seen like Superman movies or anything like that, read Superman comics. I'm not like a comic buff, but I heard someone say this one time. I don't remember where, but it was literally like Superman's, is it his like aunt or something comes to him and says, hey, it's okay if you don't want to do this. You don't have to be Superman. You can just play the piano if you want to. And it's like that's actually the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. It's not okay. If you have certain gifts, talents, and abilities, if you have certain things that you can offer the world, and to be able to go to someone that can do so much with that and say, you know what, it's okay if you just want to hole up in your house and do your thing and not share that with the world. I'm like, no way. I do feel like there is a certain fear and trembling that we have when we come to understand this is what I've got. This is what God's called me to do. He's not really like asking me. He's kind of like commanding me to do those things, and I'm going to operate in that. So that's I think pastorally, I would say to a person that's just wondering, like, man, I don't know if anything's going to change or what I should do coming out of this time. Like the things that you've always been afraid to do those things.
That's so good.
Uh, because here's where we're at right now. What we're seeing is that a small virus can not only take human life, which is horrific and terrifying, but it can also shut down those of us who are living. So I'm just like, it takes a little bit of fear in this world to shut down businesses, to close airports, to restrict travel, to not allow us to interact with one another. So I think if anything, we shouldn't come out of this and go, man, like we're just going to do things as we've always done. I don't even know if new normal is the word. I think it's just a new beginning, that it's time to
Wow.
totally shed identities and to step into new things. I was reading Isaiah 43, 18 and 19, and it's like, hey, I'm doing a new thing. I'm making a way in the wilderness. I'm making streams in the desert. I think a lot of people are watching this right now, and they've had a lot of wasteland in their life. They've had a lot of areas where they haven't seen a lot of flourishing, and it's time to really put those things off and allow God to do what He wants to do.
I couldn't agree more, man. I think there's that. I love that you brought up the fact of, like, you know what, you have gifts and talents and dreams that are not just meant to be kind of brushed aside. And so hopefully when we are coming back, I love the idea of saying it's a new beginning. So in this new beginning, unleash, like, that's part of working out your salvation, is that outward expression of your faith. And the way you do that is by leveraging your talents, your gifts, your goals, your dreams for the glory of God. So
Yeah,
hopefully Christians feel, hopefully we're taking advantage of this time to get closer to God, not just for the sake of intimacy, but also for the sake of being like empowered and to be sent back out, you know?
yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a BC here before COVID. Whatever that was, let it be. Okay,
Yeah.
and it's time for a new beginning. And I think it's funny though. A lot of people, as soon as I say that, there's so many things they can think. Well, I'm too young, or I'm too old, I'm too chronologically superior, I have too many things that are restricting me. And I'm like, here's the reality though, like there's always going to be a thing that could keep you from doing it, always. That's a very easy thing to find. What are those things that God is calling your faith to rise up? I mean, there's nothing God's calling you to do probably that's going to be like, and there's the path, and there are the lights that line the path, and there's the end goal. There's going to be faith in there. So what's going to make faith rise up? It's not going to be, the path of least resistance. You're going to have to get in there and get after it.
Wow. That's a good word, man. I love that, and I think I've been sensing that when I talk to other ministry leaders, there's this hope that we're not wasting this time to have intimacy and hopefully come out of here with a sense of being unleashed.
Yeah, yeah,
The terminology I keep hearing is not just attending church, but being the church.
yeah,
And I think
yeah.
I think that's a lot of what it means to work out your salvation. So, dude, thanks for sharing that. The goal of these quarantine chats is just to like highlight things in scripture that may be jumping out and maybe give us some practical things to be thinking about. So I do want to draw our church's attention though to something that may help them with we have a few more weeks of sheltering in place. So last question,
Mhm.
Your Mess Matters might be some good reading material. Where can we pick that up?
Well, you can't go to Barnes and Noble, so you can. It is on Amazon though. You can pick it up on Amazon, and it's been cool to see people reading it during quarantine. And hopefully helping them out some. So if you are interested in books, I wrote one. You don't have to get it, but if you love me and believe in me, you should get it. And I wrote it with you in mind. So hopefully it's something that would be beneficial to people.
I think it will. I've been seeing people post about it being one of their quarantine books. So Mountain Lakers, it's a good read. You should stop by Amazon, look it up. Your Mess Matters. I'll make sure that we maybe post a little comment on Facebook with a link to it. So
Yes, sir. No, that's perfect, man.
all
I
right,
love it.
Luke.
And your face right now, I mean, this guy, I've ever
I don't know what you just said because the internet just freaked out a little bit. So all I heard was like robot voice when you're describing. I'm assuming you said how handsome I am.
no, just how smooth your face looks right now. I've never seen you with that little facial hair.
Yeah, it was time for like you said earlier, not going back to new normal. It's a new beginning, baby face
Yeah,
beginning.
yeah, baby face beginning.
I tried the
Golly.
stash. I tried the quarantine stash, but it wasn't a big hit here at home.
I did. I did the stash too, and it was also not a huge hit, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to try it again.
I
So we'll
will
see what
try it
happens.
again. I just got to kind of lick my wounds a little bit and get back on my feet.
Same, same. Totally agree.
All right,
Dude,
bro. Have fun in Arkansas, and I guess we'll see you back in Georgia whenever.
I'll see you soon, hopefully.
All right. Have a great night.
Yeah, you too, bro.